No one thought it would ever happen. For years, fans cried, begged, and hoped, but nothing changed, until now. After a long and painful absence, the man behind Ty Borden has finally broken the silence. Graham Wardle is coming back to Heartland. Yes, you heard that right. The Face fans thought they had lost forever is returning, and everything in Season 19 is about to change. Asterisk. It's been 3 years since the world of Heartland was rocked by a moment fans still can't forget. Ty Borden, the strong and loving heart of the show, died suddenly from a blood clot in Season 14 for many viewers. That moment wasn't just another scene, it was heartbreak. People had watched Ty grow from a troubled teen to a loyal husband and father. They saw him build a life with Amy, raise their daughter, and become a part of the Fleming family in every way. When Ty died, it felt like a real loss. Since then, the show has moved forward. Amy struggled. The family tried to heal. But no matter what, Ty's memory never left. Every episode since his death carried a shadow. Something was missing, and everyone knew it. That's why this news hit like lightning. Graham Wardle, the man who brought Ty to life, has just revealed he's returning in Season 19. Fans are shocked. Some are crying with joy. Others can't believe it's true. But Graham himself said it. The silence is over. Now, the big question is, how? Is Ty really alive? Will it be flashbacks? A dream? Or something even deeper? What's clear is this Heartland will never be the same again. With Graham's return, Season 19 has just gone from exciting to unforgettable. Asterisk when Ty Borden collapsed in the snow at the end of Season 13. No one knew it would be the beginning of his final goodbye. He had just saved a Volf and was on his way to recovery after being shot. Fans believed he was strong, enough to survive anything. But in the first episode of Season 14, reality struck hard. Ty stood beside Amy smiling, and then suddenly fell. A blood clot. One moment he was alive, the next he was gone. The screen faded, but the shock stayed. That scene wasn't just part of a script, it felt real. People watching across the world gasped, cried, and held their breath. Ty wasn't just a TV character, he was a friend, a role model, and part of the Heartland family. His love story with Amy was the heart of the show. Viewers had seen it all from their awkward first talks to their wedding to the birth of their daughter. Lyndy, losing Ty felt like losing hope. After that, everything changed. Amy was never the same. Her smile faded. She stopped training horses for a while. Even her bond with Lyndy became more fragile. She was living in the same house, riding the same trails, but without Ty, the world was colder. The rest of the family tried to move on. Jack held back tears behind strong words. Lou pushed forward with work. Georgie tried to stay focused on her dreams. But behind every scene, behind every storyline, Ty's absence was like a ghost, silent, but always there. Fans were divided. Some accepted the loss. Others never forgave the show for letting him go. Social media exploded with posts, edits, and petitions. Bring back Ty, they said, but nothing happened. For 3 long seasons, the door stayed shut. Until now. Graham Wardle's decision to return is not just a comeback, it's a second chance. And for fans who never got closure, it might finally bring healing. Or raise even more questions. Asterisk after leaving Heartland, Graham Wardle didn't run toward fame. He walked away from the spotlight, and for a while he disappeared. While fans were still grieving Ty's sudden death, Graham was quietly starting a new chapter. It wasn't about acting anymore. It was about healing, growth, and rediscovering who he was when he wasn't wearing Ty Borden's boots. Many actors chase bigger roles or Hollywood dreams, but Graham chose something different. He turned to his inner world. He started a podcast called Time Has Come, where he spoke about personal change, spiritual awakening, and deep life questions. He opened up about pain, fear, and finding purpose beyond the screen. It wasn't the same man fans saw fixing fences or riding horses. It was a man searching for meaning. In interviews, Graham said his choice to leave Heartland was not easy. He loved the cast, the story, and most of all, the fans. But something inside him needed space to grow. He wanted to explore the world outside Ty because for over a decade, Ty Borden was all he knew. Sometimes, stepping away is the only way to grow stronger, but even while he moved forward, the pull of Heartland never truly left. Fans didn't forget him. Their letters, messages, and endless love followed him. And every time he saw a fan post about Ty, it reminded him of the impact that role had not just on them, but on him too. Over time, Graham became more reflective. His words turned softer, wiser. In some podcast episodes, he even hinted at returning to the things that shaped him. He never said Heartland by name, but fans noticed. They held on to hope even when he stayed silent, and maybe, just maybe, that silence was part of the plan. Because when someone you love disappears without warning, the return hits even harder. Graham didn't just take time away, he took time to become something more. And now, he's coming back, not as the same man who left, but as someone ready to write the next chapter. In the place where it all began, it happened quietly, but the world heard it loud. There was no flashy press conference, no dramatic trailer. Just a few honest words from Graham Wardle. And suddenly the Heartland universe lit up again. After years of silence, of guessing and hoping, fans finally got the answer they never thought they'd hear. Graham is returning to Heartland Season 19. The announcement didn't feel like a typical TV reveal. It felt personal. Graham was speaking, not as a character, but as himself. Whether it was through a podcast episode, a live stream, or a quiet Instagram post, he didn't need to shout. His words were calm, clear, and filled with meaning. And that made the moment hit even harder. "I feel the time is right," he said. Just 6 simple words. But for fans who had waited through the grief, the longing, and the disbelief, that was enough. Screenshots of his message spread like wildfire across fan groups, Reddit threads, and Twitter timelines. Some fans cried. Others rewatched old episodes just to feel his presence again. It wasn't just a return. It was a healing. The cast didn't take long to respond either. A single heart emoji from Amber Marshall under his post sent fans into a frenzy. A behind-the-scenes photo surfaced, grainy, but clear enough to show Graham back on set, standing beside the familiar barn. Was it real? Every detail became a clue. Every word became a treasure. But what made the moment more powerful was that it didn't feel like acting. It felt like someone finding their way home. For 3 seasons, Heartland tried to fill the space Ty left behind. Now, that space might be whole again. But with Graham's return, new questions rise. Is this a short appearance or something bigger? A flashback? A vision? Or has Ty been alive all along? Theories spread like wildfire, but one thing is certain: Season 19 will not be just another season. It will be the season everything changes. The man fans mourned is walking back into the story. And the emotional shockwave has only just begun. Graham Wardle's return has opened a door, but no one knows what's waiting on the other side. Is it a joyful reunion or a painful reminder? What happens next in Heartland could be the most emotional twist the show has ever delivered. Because bringing Ty Borden back isn't just a surprise, it's a storm of memories, love, loss, and unanswered questions. Fans are already spinning theories. Some believe it will be a flashback, short but powerful. Maybe Amy sees him in a dream, a moment where grief meets healing. Others say no, it's more than that. They point to whispers from the set, hints from the cast, and one phrase Graham used, a chance to continue something unfinished. That doesn't sound like a flashback. That sounds like a return. Could Ty be alive? Was his death a cover-up, a secret written into the story for something greater? It sounds wild until you remember this is Heartland, a show built on hope, on second chances, on impossible healing. If any place could make the impossible feel real, it's this one, but even if it's not a full return, his presence will shake everything. Amy has spent seasons learning to live without Ty. She's raised their daughter with his memory as her guide. She's changed, she's stronger. But what happens when the one she lost is suddenly in front of her again? Will Amy be ready? Will Ty be the same man? Or will his return reopen wounds that never truly closed? And what about Lyndy? She barely remembers her father. If Ty returns in any form, real or imagined, what does it mean for the daughter who's only known his name, not his voice? Season 19 is no longer just a continuation, it's a rewrite. A moment to ask the deepest question of all: can a love that was once buried rise again? Whatever the answer, one thing is clear: Heartland fans are not just watching a show. They're about to feel something unforgettable. The risk, the moment Graham Wardle shared the news of his return. It wasn't just fans who were stunned. The cast and crew of Heartland felt it just as deeply. For them, this wasn't just an actor coming back. It was the return of a friend, a brother, and someone who helped shape the very heart of the show. The people who had worked with him for over a decade weren't just reading a headline. They were feeling something personal, something real. Amber Marshall, who plays Amy Fleming, was the first many fans looked to. She and Graham had shared countless scenes, from teenage love to marriage to heartbreak. They built their characters' love story together. In past interviews, Amber had always spoken with deep emotion about Graham's exit, how painful it was to film without him, how hard it was to lose Ty. So when she reacted to the news with a quiet comment and a red heart emoji, fans knew this meant something. There were whispers from the crew, too. A camera assistant reportedly said it felt like old magic returning to the barn. A lighting tech mentioned that seeing Graham on set again gave them chills, like no time had passed. And yet everything had changed. These weren't just technical people, they were part of the Heartland family, and his return brought memories flooding back. Other cast members stayed silent at first, as if trying to process it. But gradually their posts began appearing, subtle hints, photos with no captions, smiles that seemed to hold back tears. It was like watching a family reunion through a foggy window, nothing clear, but everything emotional. Even behind the scenes, something had shifted. The energy changed. Crew members who had grown used to a new rhythm felt something old and beautiful returning. And most important of all, the set didn't just feel like a job anymore. It felt like home again. Because Ty Borden wasn't just a role, Graham wasn't just another actor. He was part of Heartland's soul. And now that soul was waking up again. For years they waited. Letters were sent. Edits were made. Hashtags trended again and again. Hashtag bring back Ty. Hashtag Heartland family. Hashtag Graham Wardle forever. Even when the writers moved on, the fans never did. Some watched season 14 and stopped there. Others kept going, but something inside felt empty. To them, Ty Borden wasn't just a character. They called him family. And now, the thing they thought would never happen has happened. When Graham Wardle announced his return, the internet lit up. Instagram posts flooded with tears, hearts, and disbelief. Twitter timelines filled with joy, questions, and emotional videos. TikTok saw a wave of tributes with fans crying on camera, shouting in joy, or sitting in silence, holding on to old Heartland DVDs as if they were made of gold. One fan wrote, "This feels like a piece of my heart just came back to life." Another said, "We didn't just lose Ty, we lost hope, and now hope is back." Fan pages, some inactive since 2021, suddenly burst into life again. Artists began sketching Ty and Amy side by side once more. Writers started new fan fiction. Viewers who hadn't watched since Ty's death began rewatching from the beginning, preparing for season 19 like it was a holy event. But it wasn't just about the return of an actor. It was the return of feeling, of connection, of something beautiful that once felt lost forever. Fans from Canada to Brazil, from Germany to the Philippines, all felt the same shock, the same wave of joy. For a show that always promised family, healing, and second chances, this was the most powerful promise of all. And maybe that's the magic of Heartland. Even after the silence, even after the pain, the story finds a way. And so do the people who love it. Graham is back. Ty is back. And the fans who never stopped believing, they were right all along.